actually Dan, who's going to be playing on JDXL versus Astralis. I have really good segues. Astralis versus JDXL. Astralis, if they win versus JDXL, they get the glued on Dusty. If JDXL wins this one, they will probably lock in at least the top 1 or 2 seeds for the playoffs.
And as for every team facing JDXL now, if you beat JDXL, you get to feel really damn good about yourselves because they are looking excellent. And speaking of Dan, I feel like has been the iconic player in Summer NLC 2022. This guy has defined a lot of what it means to be a top team here. So what he did against Riddle, just effortlessly went top lane, destroyed their win condition at level 4, and then just went about his way. This guy, alongside the rest of this team, are so poised to, again, be so dominant in this league.
And you know what I'm going to do? If we need to talk about any lane whatsoever, we'll be talking about the top lane a lot of times, so might as well look into the supports. Kiba and FGG, that is a topic that we decided upon to talk about this.
We did.
And why? Why is it?
I feel like Kiba, if you want to talk about spring till summer, like the major changes for me is in terms of how they operate and how they move around the map. And for a lot of that has to come from the support role. FGG, kind of inaugurally a massive kind of climber in terms of actually playing. I mean, I remember when he was playing in UKLC, he comes in as a sub for
UKEL qualifiers.
UKEL to NLC, and now like on not just an NLC, like a bottom tier NLC team, the preeminent NLC team. These are 2 supports, they're impact players. I think you can see that in the mirroring the stats here as well. Like very much to me, kind of both seminal pieces of their team's success.
And I think what's really interesting is you look down at those champion pools, and there's actually so much different stuff in there too. It's not like it is just the FGG Rel from Spring, which was awesome, don't get me wrong, but it's going beyond that now. And they are still, of course, with FGG on the first place team. Kiba has come in and revolutionized Astralis. This is actually a conversation which was had a lot at the LEC in terms of when a team is on form and is a proper, quote-unquote super team. And, we're not going to call these that in the NLC, but strong teams have strong jungle supports in a competitive sense. And if you have Kiba coming in and it changes the way you move around the map, you have Taxa and Kiba lining up and starting to make things happen on the map, that is where it really comes from.
There's another topic I would like to just tell you as we jump into the Champions Select, the idea that FGG is the only support so far that is always capable of getting to the Herald fight at level 6.
Yes.
I don't know what magic he's pulling in, what sort of leech is he doing?
That's the Damwon Kia rotation strategy. You leech XP from both lanes at once, you get it for the Herald, and you just smash face.
As we jump into the Champions Select, I'm going to do it, okay? Okay? There you go. Look at that, fast. The harder you hit... no, don't do it. Don't do it. He's going to break the table.
Local man destroys building in fit of rage.
Astralis versus JDXL, 8-4 to 11-1. And if JDXL loses this one, Kodok has to apologize yet again.
Hang on, yeah, I just love instigating that stuff because I mean I have absolutely no fallback for if this happens. I just enjoy spectating it, but of course, there is something about seeing the mighty fall as an underdog story. There is something fun about that, but still, seeing someone be put up to a pedestal and put themselves onto a run of dominance to the point where it is a fall is also equally entertaining in my eyes. And if we're looking at teams we want to send to European Masters, a team like JDXL on form is someone that we really want to. Well, we're going to want to keep talking about, I suppose, because it looks like Champions Select is going to be restarted soon enough.
Because if we need to send someone to EU Masters, we need someone that is capable of fighting LFL. We got someone from the... I mean, if we can't win LFL, might as well steal their caster. So we got Goldberg back one day. We got you as well. I mean...
Well, it's nice to do some charity work sometimes and just come to a league where... we are the best league.
Well, look at these bans. Aren't bans interesting right now? I love to talk about champion picks and bans.
If this time I get to go to EU Masters, I'm... you are done.
You've got to imagine what it's like for me. I'm a traitor now immediately. I'm a UK person showing my support for France. Which is,
you're just fishing for likes. Okay, Champion Select, Gnar, and the GP. Obviously, there's a lot of attention to the top side. Kryze did a wonderful job on the previous day, but with the help from Dan, on the other side, Carlson is evolving as a top laner.
I think in spring, Kryze is quite clairly our best top laner across the split. I think that in summer, Jax has had so many resources thrown at him and has used them so well, it's hard to rule them out of that conversation. But Kryze has still had a very good split. They are still very prominent at playing whatever you need them to. They're a very versatile player. But when you're against a player like Carlson, who also likes playing the 1v1s, I'm looking at Kryze and saying, well, you just matched Jax, you know, why wouldn't they go for another top lane pick for him to show off his stuff?
And Carlson has been spamming that Gnar competitively with us. He has been banned. Torok is aware of that. Even though people can counter the Gnar, you can't allow him to go through for a player like Carlson. What else do we get on this ban phase? Because it seems like it's going to be an overloaded draft anyway. Seraphine, yet again, ban versus Torok. What can we expect, guys?
And Corki's not banned yet. That's a pretty... Sankux has played that very, very well. I actually want... But MNS, of course, playing that very well too. But Sankux has also shown the other side of the coin and saying, you pick the Corki, we pick the Silas. You mentioned that earlier. I think that's a very important thing. I would imagine that Corki is still going to feature in this draft. It hasn't been touched on the B patch of this 12.12. And with the Zeri moved away, it's on the table.
There's actually another strategy I think that you've seen some teams opt into in response to the Corki. It's never actually worked entirely, but for me, a thing
that doesn't sound like a good strategy.
For me, a thing that teams, it's the Xerath, it's artillery mages, but the problem is that they can't execute upon it properly. But actually, strangely enough, JDXL, to me, seemed like a team that could get a Xerath game working.
I mean, they play Lux, as in terms of long-range artillery mages, and they've done stuff like that.
Jimenez is good with skill shots, I guess.
He's good with a whole lot of champions, I hear.
Maybe.
But you know, Dan is really good with it.
was buffed.
And they are hovering it. It's there. The hover is there. Once again, shout out to Chublink. See, thing is though, hovers of my main champion mean less now because everyone's been playing Ahri for an entire split at this point.
Everybody's sick of it.
I mean, forget about a hover. Draven's just been locked in again. I feel like we're seeing so much more of this.
Nah, I got you baited. I want that so much, but obviously it has to be later than.
I was just looking at it like, funny champion hover. Oh, what's that? We've seen 3. Wait, that's still locked in. It's even though we've seen it a couple of times now, and we've seen it from Attila, we saw it from Mishigu, we saw it earlier today. It's still a champion which warps the draft around you, and what I look at this now is Volibear jumps towards a Draven who wants to go bot lane early. You don't want to go bot lane early against a Draven if you can't go punch for punch with the 2v2. The 3v3 is crazy.
Unless it's at level 3, so you know Venzer might die at that one.
It is the
level
curse. 3 Venzer. Yeah.
Everything to do with 3s is bad for Venzer.
I think it is. As we get the failures on the other side for Astralis at this point, they might look into lock in the support. Maybe for Astralis, you don't give a lot in.
Renat is already gone, which is one of our most lane-dominant supports. I think at this point, when you have the Aphelios locked in, you can't afford really to go towards something like a Yuumi. The other prime lane pairing, this has been so consistent, is the Aphelios Nautilus. I mean, we saw this out of Nariki earlier in the day too, and this is a lane which will, one, be able to fight very early into that game. Nautilus kind of bails out Aphelios just having an awful level 1.
I was thinking about it.
And it's so reliable at finding engages in team fights. You know who is a nameplate with a champion attached to it is really good at finding engages in team fights? FGG's Ral.
You played it once on Summer Split, and I think, is it locked in? It is. It is locked in. We finally get to see FGG back at the Rel. I'm happy.
Yeah, back on the Rel, back at the helm, and I feel like, for me, Torok and XL here have really, they're just answering back, and I feel like they've got answers for this in terms of, you can see what Astralis have come out the gates wanting to do. It's the Volibear wants to facilitate a lane, but what XL have done have said, we're all in on bot lane, and you need to either answer that or lose the game.
And particularly in this bot lane thing, I mean, most of the time, bot lane is determined by support matchup. In fact, we were talking about this when Goldberg was on desk as well, in terms of saying it's about 80% support matchup, 20% AD carry in terms of 2v2s. There are a couple of outliers. One of them is Lucian. One of them is something like a Draven too. At level 1, Aphelios isn't really a champion. He has 2 weapons and no abilities with either of them. So you have to rely on the Nautilus bailing out at level 1. Well, Draven beats you at level 1. Rel beats the Nautilus in extended trades like that too. Because while the Nautilus goes, haha, I can stop your crash down, it doesn't stop Draven spinning up those axes. I think this 2v2 and actually the subsequent 3v3, because Volibear is going to come to bail that out. Trundle's there, 3v3, bot side is around JDXL. Next thing I'm looking at is, do you have a mid lane matchup which can make its way down there? That's the one thing left in the Astralis tank to bail out what is going to be a very risky bot side confrontation.
Astralis are in a bit of a pinch as well. They've got to go for obviously 2. They're going to know a little bit more after the 4th pick from XL obviously, but you've got to kind of, do you pivot into safer lanes to play through and enable through the Volibear, or do you just kind of accept the gambit that has been laid down almost by JDXL? And I feel like...
no, Diamond Prox is playing earlier.
I'm not even going to laugh at that. Not even going to smile.
Orky has been unintended
Gets it.
until this time. This could be a safe pick as well for the top side.
And, you know, when you're seeing the Aurelia and the Ornn banned away, I think what effectively JDXL is saying, let's ban away champions which do well when all the resources are bot side and top lane is an island. That has kind of been the meta out in global League of Legends. In the NLC, we've seen actually a lot of resources gone towards top lane. We've talked about that a lot before. We have a lot of very good top laners that love having those resources. But when you have this Gragas up there, he's going to turn up to team fights. And as long as he's surviving on his own, he's very happy to be there on his own.
Jake.
I actually really like the prescience of this Gragas pick here, as we are going to see some of the blinds come through. But to me, this is a net neutral in some of the carries that you want to go for. If we speak about how some of the, we've talked about the pivot that might happen here from Astralis, this Gragas pick prevents that pivot. It's very, very intelligent drafting from here for Torek here. You're preventing them from going in a different direction, and I feel like that now means, well, forget that actually, they've just said Fiora. Well, fair enough.
Challenged.
Because this is now a little bit of it's a very interesting 1v1 with Fiora Gragas, because a lot of the time you're spending it in melee range, and that means you have very little time to activate your riposte if there's a belly slam coming your way.
And you have a lot of knockups.
Ourselves now. I believe M&S hasn't played the Yasuo yet, so it's another unique champion from him this year in the NLC. And, you know, actually this was something that was tried against JDXL, I believe, when they played through the Aurelia on the top side. No, in fact, it might have been a riddle game. Anyway, there was another game, because this was another game when the Yasuo was locked in, and you see something like a volatile top lane, you think, well, who cares about ganking? Let's send the mid laner up there too.
And M&S is a weapon to be reckoned with. At the end of the day, looking into the champion select, who do you think is going to take this one?
Listen, man, they should rename to legs because they're always at the bottom of the table. But Vendetto does have the bold buff, so maybe he can bring it back. Who knows?
I can't do that. I have too much.
No, that is a wig, by the way. We all know it's a wig, by the way.
Well, with my secrets now exposed, I do think that JDXL are going to win this game. I think that they have a lot of answers. The one failing point is if they go top lane and that play gets messed up, things get very dangerous to them because that can start snowballing the side lane. So watch for what happens towards top lane. Actually, we talked about bot lane so much. If you go top lane, throw resources there and fail, I think there's a way in for Astralis.
This is a dangerous game to look into the top of the standings. Let's see how it happens as we move into the Summoner's Rift with Initialize in trouble.
And legs.
I just realized, of course, when Don Jake was last on the broadcast, it was as XL's fan on the street. And of course, he's now here on the NLC proper when it's XL versus Astralis again. Having laid down that diss track last time, I just realized the circular nature of the NLC, it just happens there again. It's good to hear. I see that you've got an anti-Corky poster.
And our last 4 teams have rebelled as well.
They have.
Because Backlund could have picked a Corky last game. He didn't.
100% presence is gone.
Yeah, Evan could
The
have.
king is dead.
100% guild participation, gone. 100% presence.
Boom.
Boom.
We had that whole thing in the news segment. Pre-show and it's all gone. But now with those couple statements about Corky and then, of course, the nature of Don Jake's content for various things in this matchup, let's talk a little bit about 2 very distinctive drafts. I was not expecting the Fiora for Carlson, especially considering literally in the green room 10 minutes ago, we were saying, look, Taxa loves to play for mid and bot. He's got a Fiora now to work with.
Yeah, but this guy has mastered weak side, and I think Fiora doesn't necessarily have to be the strong side of the map. As long as he's left alone in her own devices, he becomes a menace later on in the game, that's fine. But I feel like the Gragas is such a good answer to these champions that want to perma-dive you because he's such a good anti-diver.
Absolutely, but enough prevaricating and procrastinating. Onto the Rift we go for this marquee of matchups we have here today. Astralis.
Academy battle.
Indeed. XL versus Astralis, both doing incredibly well, honestly, up in the LEC. Both having a bit of a glow up here in the summer in the NLC. So, of course, XL, great regular season and then collapsed in playoffs. Astralis collapsed just in the regular season, let's be frank. It's been much better from these players, and we've got some very distinctive matchups to go through, as we said. Yasuo for M&S is something very exciting to see.
Another unique pick coming in together with the Zeri, if I'm not wrong.
No.
He brought another one.
Oh, he did, yeah, in the middle. Sorry, I thought it was Zeri on the Rift. Like, what? No one picked
So
Zeri.
he's brought Vex. He's brought... no, Zeri he played last season as well. So he's brought Vex this split, and he's also brought the Yasuo in, which are unique picks, even from back in spring. Now, of course, here with the Yasuo, you have the easiest time of your life. You've got Body Slam, Gragas ult, Pillar, stand aside from Draven, ult from Rel. Like, you've got so many tools that can get you into a fight, and if these guys are bad and they can't get the job done for you, you also have your Qs.
Yeah, you can also do it yourself, exactly. You could go on full, you could go full Thanos and go, fine, I'll do it myself.
Right, if all 4 of them are terrible in the game, which they're not right now because they're 11-1 in the league, yeah, I don't like do the job yourself.
And M&S has kind of done that a fair amount. Currently at 18 solo kills
what I was alluding
in
to.
12 games.
Thank you.
2.5 solo kills a game is nothing to sniff at. And of course, on Yasuo into matchups where you can certainly look to brawl in those side lanes could be very interesting to watch. But early on, Taxa thinking about paying attention to this bot side as FGG misses the crash down, but the Dread side also goes wide. Just
Very
warning shots.
Very important here. Taxa has been known for his early game aggression lately.
Yes.
And the bot lane from JDXL is way too overextended. A little bit of a shining light. There is cleanse on Venzer.
Is going to need to use it. Dreadstein is flashed away from, but it's going to leave FGG in a difficult position, but he will crash down with the aid of his Ferromancy and get out of there. But it is flash cleanse down from the Draven before he even hits level 2.
But if you look at the pathing from Dan, he's done red into Wolves, into straight Gromp. That is a level 3 he's going to hit straight after this Gromp, and it could be his turn going down towards the bot side of the map. Astralis is extremely immobile, can burn his flash with just 1 pillar. I think Kiba is moving towards the top side river. You will see there is a wave building up for the side of Astralis as well, and they need to overextend if they want to get TCS onto Chrisberg.
Here we go.
There is no wards.
They come straight down, flash for that Ferromancy. The pillar as well forces Chrisberg to flash away very quickly, and they'll get the summoner. Going to try and turn this one as best they can as Dan stops 4 steps forward, rather, but can't get too much more done. They'll get an additional summoner, but not too much more.
Here's the thing. Why is Venzer's Draven more dangerous for his team than any other Draven? Do you have the answer? Do you have the answer?
I suspect I might, but I think you might want to say it.
Right. So, Mystico has played it, Attila has played it. We have very distinctively said that their playstyle is more survive laning phase, build up enough stacks, and suddenly someone will int into you and you will cash in 1.3k gold.
Yes. Wait.
Venzer is notorious for dying level 3, but now they're diving level 3.
Level 2. We might go for this one instead. Avoid the level 3 death by not even getting to that point. First blood to Venzer's Draven. Surely about to fall down, though he's level 3 and dies. The prophecy comes true.
And Venzer dies, level 3.
That's very unfair, because he did get first blood and got rid of Chrisberg. But at the same time, it's just too perfect.
I was about to say that it's dangerous for Excel that Venzer's playing the Draven.
I know.
You die level 3, you've lost all the progress you've made with all that duration stacks. But this time, he cashed in first and then died. So
cashing in gets him to level 3, and that's when he dies. It's just genius how to outplay the curse.
Cashed in, got his level 3, died like a boss. So again, JDXL are obviously notoriously known for tower diving, especially towards the bot side of the map, and they want to get the Draven ahead in the early. That means that they will dive Astralis because they did previously take his flash from that gank in the bot lane. So, if you want to say it, 100% kill participation for 3 members on the side of Excel.
Look, I did this for like 1 game. And you got to understand, you can't like wear it out.
All right, so
it's like seasoning.
It's for Scrooty.
Exactly, Scrooty. It was for Scrooties. Actually, very good, Lilia.
Yeah.
And he deserved the praise and shout-outs he got. Thus far, however, credit actually, honestly, over to Dan for the 2 repeat ganks, managing to stabilize the lane and then get the kill onto the Draven, who is now with a Vamp Scepter over his opponent, which is a dangerous place to be.
So, if we put down the blueprint for Astralis and how they've actually been pretty dominant in the last few games, apart from the Singularity game, which I'm going to call it a hiccup, I'm not necessarily going to call it the teams that suddenly fell apart. It was a hiccup, it's whatever. The past few games have been extremely dominant. Please allow me to finish my sentence. Thank you very much. Go back into your jungle. The blueprint is Taxa is on a very proactive early game jungler, such as the Wukong or the Volibear. I'm going to stop right here because there's blood that's going to go down.
Oh, blood is in the water, and they're looking for more action in this bot side. FGG goes in on his Rel. Of course, it's his Rel. And the Ferromancy secures another one. The hemoglobin is iron enough in that blood to make this one count. Venzer hopping forward, trying to get as many of these spinning axes to work. Keeper just about alive, but JDXL find another in the bot lane.
And this is another one. This time it goes to the Trundle for his troubles, of course. 3 ganks down the bot lane. Number 1 takes Aphelios' flash. Number 2 dives Aphelios. Number 3 kills Aphelios again. And this is what early game aggressive junglers do. Like the Jarvan, like the Volibear, like the Wukong, like the Trundle. They'll take your summoners and then they will repeat gank and kill you and get hopefully kills onto the carries. This time it was unfortunately Venzer for them, but cast it in, but I think it's also pretty useful onto Dan's Trundle. That's going to be mainly frontlining for them.
Absolutely. And of course, let's give this some credit as well. Bit of a shout out to the bot laners in general. FGG versus Kiba. Both of these players got a talking about on the desk as well, but they've both been pretty stellar for their players, especially because Astralis have put a lot of pressure down towards the bot side over the last few patches, and FGG as well. That kill participation isn't that high, as in fact, the moment we speak about him, gets a little bit ganked out in the river, but FGG has been an incredible story, really, for the NLC, going from UKEL to NLC on the first place team.
And I think we had a pretty fun conversation in the green room, me and you as well, where we're like, 71.5% is not that high in particular, but if you think about the games where Kryze is solo killing, Dan is playing top side, Eminence is playing with Dan, Eminence is solo killing, obviously your kill participation is not going to be as high when you've got that many people killing things on their own without necessarily the need of a support.
Who needs your team?
If you think of Dusty Spring, where FTG was playing with Viking, FTG was literally Viking's shadow. I feel like this time, Dan calls the shots more selectively rather than having the support behind him the entire time. And FTG and Venzer, because they have played together, of course, one split, they're obviously really strong in lane as well.
Yeah, and honestly, shout out to Kiba as well, who is the one member Astralis changed between splits, despite their, frankly, very disappointing spring. This is the guy they picked up to go alongside Chrisberg, and honestly, he's been a huge part of why this bot side actually looks significantly more dangerous than they did in spring. We've got ourselves a dragon alive, and 3v3 is certainly the look of it right now, because of course Herald has spawned, and something you mentioned to me was that Astralis love to move every member up here in summer.
In spring, that wasn't the case. Chrisberg would stay bot lane and farm. Astralis summer will move everyone towards the top side of the map, will leave Chrisberg in the mid lane to push, but this time it is a level 6 on the Trundle. He's into the top side river first. You will see that Eminence is blocking the entrance from people as well with the wind wall too, so it was really difficult for Astralis to make that transition. We have to see where that Riftl is going to choose to drop and who's going to take the turret platings, because if I was XL, I would pop it down the bot lane. My Draven already has 1 kill. If you look on the summoner spells, yes, the Aphelios has flash up, but the Nautilus does not, so the target can very easily change, or you can choose to pop it in the mid lane right now, create some pressure, and then go for the dragon. Now, this is not going to be the case, but I feel like the most value cash-in would be give more money to your Draven, move him around the map, use him as a minigun.
Yeah, and you could see M&S and Dan were going to try and make their way down the river, but Astralis were wise to their attempted rotation and brought more members up in there, and I think XL wisely decided to back away from that rotation around. And topside, it's been a little bit of an island, as perhaps was expected. It's just slightly different champions than necessarily expecting. It's not Carlson on, you know, his Renekton from spring, say. The Fiora is, well, yeah, she can play in the 1v1. You know, it's traditionally more of a carry.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's also a little bit of a misconception how Fiora needs to be on the
Yeah,
of the
I
map.
think that's
Take
fair.
attention. I feel like you leave Fiora alone in her own accord, she will get fed and she will get this farm and she will start pushing towers the second Gragas moves out of the lane, right? One of her big strengths is that due to her ultimate and the vitals, she can actually dive towers pretty easily. I just want to reiterate though that the early game for Fiora has been toned down. Her vitals have gotten a significant nerf in the damage that they do, or was it the healing? Her vitals have been nerfed.
Either way, yes, there's been some changes, less obnoxious.
No, her vitals have been nerfed, which therefore nerfed her ultimate, who uses all 4 vitals around the target. Now, JDXL are actually going to move all 4 members, which very rarely happens, and then it's to move towards the bot side of the map to do what we talked about, cash in more gold into that Draven.
Get to, and there's the 4th. The Moonlight Vigil just goes wise. Dan was, of course, pretty low, having just soloed the dragon. But they will get 4 plates, they will get more gold in, and they will continue to snowball this early game. And this was always a bit of a worry with Astralis. If Taxa doesn't get things going early, sometimes Astralis can fall back into old habits from spring.
Absolutely, and this is exactly what Taxa himself has talked to us about, the fact that he wants to be more proactive and create the set. So, Now that we're taking a little bit of a break here, let's lay down the Astralis blueprint on how they've been dominating the past of a few of their past games. So Taxa on either Wukong or Trundle or Volibear, something that can create situations early, plays towards the mid to bot side of the map. Either get skills onto Chrisberg or get skills onto Senkax. Now these two members are very key because the macro for Astralis would be rotate everyone to Herald level 8, get platings, feed these carries more, then translate that into vision, and then get stellar team fights through your 2 carries being fed. And that's been the blueprint for so long. JDXL, though, never fall behind in the early. And right here, you can see also FTG and Dan are ready for another gank.
They're onto vision, but Chrisberg has got flash heal, but not too much more. Dredgeline lands, but there's still the use of the crash down available. Maybe naded. FGG does get out of dodge, though. So I managed to pronounce that name correctly after a second attempt. And JDXL managed to extricate themselves from the attempted counter gank there from Astralis, but you can't accord it. Look, they look to put pressure towards the mid, the bot side. Mid is 0-0-0. Bot side, Chrisberg died twice. Venzer was up. Pretty much the entire gold of XL is on that Draven, the opposite number. And we said that sometimes when the wheels fall off, when those early plays don't work, things get very dicey for Astralis.
And I think it gets even worse when traditionally Chrisberg falls behind.
Yes.
The team doesn't seem to do very well. So even though Taxa might be more passive, that doesn't necessarily mean that he has fallen behind. But if Chrisberg falls behind, they lose a lot of their star power and their star AD carry, hyper carry in the late game. And having these failures, you definitely want him to be fed. Also, Venzer here is gonna opt towards the Kraken Slayer. Ooh. There's not gonna be no Eclipse, there's not gonna be no Shield Bow. Nobody needs those pesky life steals. It's gonna be straight up the Kraken
River
Slayer.
is dark and full of terror as the last breath comes through. The Ignite is there. And Dan with the Subjugate will bring the Fox down to earth.
Very well played. I mean, Eminence right here is literally set for success. Any button that JDXL presses is some sort of CC that will allow the ultimate to come through for the Yasuo. Senkax doesn't even get a chance to move blows. Both his ultimate though and his flash, which is very important. Keep the flash in mind because in 2 minutes time, second dragon is going to come up. JDXL is going to want to start stacking them and Senkax is not going to have his flash available. Also, look towards the top side. We mentioned a little bit how...
Bit of a attack onto FGG. Does have the crash down. No flash, though. Looking to try and maybe get over the wall. But doesn't quite use it. He's got a track repel now attached to Dan. And maybe they're looking to potentially punish Taxa, who has got flash and Stormbringer. Mage uses Kiba. Is hanging around and maybe looking to get something here as Venzer walks away from the tower. And JDXL beginning to come around. FGG turns one around, though. Means Taxa's in danger. Has got the attract repel being used on him as well. Brings down the Sky Splitter. Big stun flash over the wall. So does Kiba. And they'll get double summoners and nothing more.
Is double summoners though. You mentioned it's so important for Volibear who wants to chase. Do you have the flash? You can actually Q flash into a target, stun them in place, get the follow-up going. Now not having the flash onto the Volibear, it really diminishes your chances of getting something done on the map. And again, who do you rely on to carry your late game? Ari's not necessarily going to carry your late game. That Aphelios is going to carry your late game and potentially sideline pressure from Fiora. But Carlsen has been a little bit quiet, and the second that Gragas does join the team fight, he's going to be a bigger force, which means the Aphelios is going to have to position properly, the Ari is going to have to position properly. One wrong move, you get caught by a body slam, you get caught by a cast, you get caught by any knock-up, and you're instantly gone. And you're looking for that pressure on the sideline from the Fiora. What can Carlsen output while his team is fighting 4 versus 5?
Absolutely, and a bit of a brief conversation on the itemization. Obviously, we mentioned the Kraken Slayer's a little odd. Blade of the Rune King first on the Yasuo here as well. That's an older school build, but it's not the Immortal Shield Bow into the Infinity Edge 100% crit 2-item build we often see from the Yasuo. So, bit of an adaptation here from M&S. I suppose there are quite a few health stackers, I suppose, to deal with.
Yeah, I really like this. The fact that Ari stacking HP, the Nautilus is stacking HP, Fiora stacking HP, the Volibear stacking HP. You mentioned it as well, Kraken Slayer, Blade of the Ruin King. One deals true damage, the other one deals HP percentage. So Sundra also deals HP percentage, so they want to be shredding down these HP bars. As we mentioned as well, of course, all of these summoner spells missing from the previous skirmish with Astralis means that JDXL can just walk into this river, take the second dragon, give even more money to the Draven by taking bot side completely uncontested, and then they're gonna take themselves a trade the Herald on the top side of the map. Now the problem is, there's 4 members of JDXL towards the bot side of the map. Your mid laner might be in trouble right here, so you trade in Rift Herald for what? Let's see. So XL has taken Dragon, they've taken bot lane tower, and now they're getting hits on the bot tower, tier 2, with Draven, whilst there is a Rift Hold for Astralis. Depending on how they use that, we'll see if it's worth the time investment or not.
And generally speaking, of course, CS is not always the most exciting thing to bring up in a game, but you can see leads in every single role right now, and with the exception of support, where it doesn't count that much as bot side.
It's not worth the time investment.
It's not. The whole turret goes. So basically, you just watch Venzer get first blood on the tier 1, then get tier 2, and yes, they'll get the turret charge on the top side, but it's only going to be the one turret traded back.
Yeah, right here, you do not have a lot of vision on the top side of the map. You've got Carlson on the bot side without teleport, he can't join. Senkax is stuck underneath his tower, which means if you try to pressure that tier 2 on the top side of the map, you're most likely going to be fighting 3 versus 4 at best.
Time, though, to talk about some of these pets. My days, look at the fluffiness. T. Jassy says hello. Thank you for saying hello. I am very happy to be greeted by you. So cute. What about this one, though?
You're very
Oh
good.
my,
my
days,
God.
Pippin. That is a regal look.
You know what this dog is doing?
What?
He's doing the Singularity versus Astralis game. Oh, no, sir. I cannot have the win. You have it. No, sir. We need to reconsider this. Please have the victory.
I am well impressed with that sweater. That is a fabulous dog. Again, throw that hashtag NLC pets up there. As much as I want to have Ziggy on there every time, and I will continue to put pictures of my dog on there. Ziggy B. Wonderful. Volda's again and Beatrice, the almost magnificent. Named after a D&D character of all things. But M&S
getting called. The tip is coming in.
Actually, they're going to get into him best they can. He's stunned in place. Has got the cleanse, though. Trying to get out of this one best he can, but he's going to get knocked up. Going to get knocked out of the ultimate. No, he's not. Gets at least some damage down. But Senko's now trying to flash out. Goes down to a flash. Body slam. 1-for-1 right now. His Taxer has gone gold, but I don't think he's got anywhere to go. Venzer gets out and cashes in again. It's a 2-for-2 right now. As Carlson trying to get out of it. He's got a double actually to his end because he picked up M&S. This Fiora now online. Venzer not in this. It's a 3v2 right now until this Draven can catch up. Cries and Dan are tanky. But what can they do? Kiba, Carlson, Chrisberg on the wrong side of the rift.
They need to be covering Venzer right there, because if he gets hit by 1 Q from the Nautilus, this is it. There's no ultimates available on anyone. I think we just dissipate completely the situation and everyone goes home. It's a 2-for-2 trade.
That it is. Venzer cashed in again, but Carlson turns up to his first play and gets 2 kills.
This is going to be huge. If Carlson can somehow make this Fiora into a side lane / team fighting menace, this is what can help Astralis win. Because every time we see a short range AD carry, like the Draven, for example, like the Samira, like the Kalista, there is a lot of tools around the team that protect. There's a Jarvan, there's a Gangplank ult, there's a Swain. This time there's nothing, everyone is going in. Emin is right there, walks in river where none of his teammates are. Everyone's on the other side of the map, gets caught, ends up going down first. And even though, yes, you pop the ultimate, you get the shield from the passive, he gets the shot, he gives the shutdown over to Carlson's Fiora. He's gonna cash in on another one. And yes, Venzer does manage to cash in his adoration stacks. I think that Fiora is going to be a huge problem to deal with for Cries on the side lane or even for M&S.
And, you know, credit to Senkox as well, punishing there, because, of course, M&S throws down the control wall, but just blind over the wall, gets in, forces that play. And, you know, it does end up in a 2-for-2, but it's a proactive play, and Astralis needed something, because it felt like everything was going wrong for them.
Yeah, I think they need to get something going. I think Taxa looked a lot from mid to bot lane. We can see the result of that, right? It hasn't gone the best. 0-2-2, 0-2-2 for Chrisberg and Senkox. These are the 2 pillars that Astralis really rely on in the mid to late game to actually carry them, and especially on champions like the Affiliate, that you need to be the strong hyper carry in the late game. When you've fallen behind, where things are not going very well, it's just a little bit hard to find the opening to do the damage. Making sure that you have a winning side in the game is so important, and for that to be a double-sided win as well, which is either split pushing or joining teamfights and winning through that, is even better for Astralis.
Problem though is they're still down over 5,000 gold. A lot of that is onto Venzer, who has picked up a second item ahead of anybody else in the game, alongside of course that Vamp Scepter from earlier. So it is filthy strong coming into this Soul Point fight as Chrisberg has to Gale Force out early. Dan, tanky with the Subjugate, but does take some damage back. But look at M&S on the other side, looking for the engage. They only got onto Kiba, but he's surely dead to right. Will be taken out by the Steel Tempest. They're going for more. Taxa has to flash out alongside the old Chrisberg with no summoners left. Of course, no Gale Force. He burned it earlier. A flash forward from Venzer, who wants his opposing number. And Venzer will slay the Astralis AD carry.
And I think this was literally the wallet of JDXL JDXL speaking right there, because just purely missing every ultimate, you use it.
Oh, Senkax.
Oh, Senkax is gonna go down most likely.
What?
Carlsen!
Raven looking to show them exactly who wins in a duel. You might be a grand duelist, but you are not the glorious executioner. Venzer picks up another, a 1v1 with Fiora.
So that's technically a very delayed ace for JDXL. This is 8,000 gold now difference. This is Soul Point with Ocean Soul on the line. This is Venzer cashing in on his 4th kill of the game, and everything is going peachy. 11K.
Oh my god.
1,000 gold up from Chrisberg. And again, we saw the shutting down Tax's proactivity in the early game, and hitting back with yours is what makes JDXL so strong. JDXL, a team that has never fallen behind this split in the early game.
I think that's something like 500 gold a minute for Venzer. Something like that. That is pretty obscene levels of income. We're going to see this fight again, though.
See this fight again. Subjugate is burned instantly from Dankos. He gets caught. No cask from Gragas. FGG tries to all but misses everyone but Kiba. Yasuo, then MNS ults Kiba, and you're like, surely these guys have wasted every single ultimate under the sun onto the support, but literally their wallets are filled with money, which have bought extra items, so they don't necessarily need the wombo combo. They can just run down members of Astralis one by one, especially when they're split like this.
Chrisberg ulted the wrong way. He ulted into the Dragon Pit.
I don't think it would have made much difference, I'm not gonna lie.
He meant he had no chakrams, he meant he couldn't I don't know. It was sad to watch. It was a really frustrating. What FGG finds a mother of all magnet storms. Never mind talking about failed fights from before. They get the kill onto the jungler straight away. The teleport comes through from Carlsen, but Kiba's gonna have to back, and they're gonna potentially turn straight back towards the Baron, but maybe they will just take this opportunity to clear out the mid wave, get that mid lane tier 1, and take that as their prize instead.
Ching! That is yet another kill. I think now you turn your attention straight towards Baron. You make sure you empty that vision from mid lane. This is 9,000 gold difference, 22 minutes in for JDXL, and I feel like the map is falling apart for Astralis. We mentioned how the only shining light is Carlsen. The only shining light
is going to continue trying to take this one out. Carlsen has got the grand challenge, but he gets knocked out by a Steel Tempest. In come the rest of Astralis. They're looking to try and turn this one out, and MNS does have the Immortal Shield Bow that is procced, but nothing else. They will just about get out alive.
And leave a man alone searching for his solo kill in one game, you know?
So please, give me this moment. Everyone else is like, no, we must defend our top laner. And let's have a look at this again, because FGG on the rel is another beast entirely. They knew he was coming, but it was just too late.
He finds a fantastic flank onto three members, and even though Senkax spots him, he spots him literally a second too late. His team ends up going down, Taxamendi ends up going down, and when you don't have a smite, you're very susceptible for these neutral objectives to be taken away by the opposing team.
Go again.
Dan.
Watch for Kryze, he's on a flank. He's going to be on vision shortly, but not before Kiba is left out to the wolves, or at least the samurai. Kryze gets that one, and MNS hunting for this Volibear will get stunned up, but there is the cleanse to try and trade this one out. So much damage. This is likely the solo kill he was looking for, but maybe not quite yet, as MNS dashing through as many people as he can with that E. Still now having to run away as FGG is going to be there, but 3-man Baron has already curtained in the mid lane. They're just going to get out as well.
Man, give me a game where JDXL are winning and MNS is not fishing to get his solo kill, baiting his teammates to die.
No one died.
Just so he can pad his stats. Was very close. Tax, of course, is going to be chased away. And of course, we take this game a little bit more lighthearted because JDXL are 11,000 gold in the lead.
It's a very big gold lead.
It's a very big gold lead. And of course, with the failure scenario being 0-3, being down an entire item to their opposition is a little bit difficult to come back, especially when you take in consideration a lot of the scaling aspects as well. Yasuo is going to be on his 3 items very soon. Draven, 3.5 items and stopwatch. You've got the Anathema's change, which I'm assuming is going to be onto the Aphelios, who is the only one who can dish out any significant amount of damage.
I mean, seriously, Anathema's chains plus the Moon Veil from the Realm means if you get CC'd by those two, the burst that comes after is going to hit like an absolute truck, and you're going to have nothing to do. Like, there's no... So anything like Mikhail's, he's got no cleanse. Chrisberg, it's a Steel Tempest, and he's about to get absolutely deleted. He's going to try and heal, but just can't do it. And now MNS hunting for some more. We'll do it with the assistance of his support and top laner. And 2 members dead already. Your mid laner and AD carry the 2 players that Astralis is supposed to play for. They're supposed to snowball, and just like that, it feels like the game is over.
Yeah, there's only 3 members remaining for Astralis, and none of these 3 have any significant wave clear remaining among them. JDXL, full force, they have Rail ult, they have Draven ult.
One game is the only thing they've lost this split, and it's the one blemish on an otherwise immaculate record, and this will be an immaculate game from the JDXL Academy team, of course, as I managed to go for their old sponsor, not their new one. A little embarrassing, but what a game regardless.
I mean, talking about dominant, Dusty had a pretty dominant game in the previous one. JDXL are coming in with an even more dominant game versus Astralis. I mean, I don't think there's anything to say about them apart from the fact that when I decided to make a content piece about JDXL and the LEC, that was the week they went and lost that one game. So
you're the case.
What can I say?
I mean, I also have to say, don't let it be forgotten that Venzer died at level 3 again. Just saying.
Although I'm gonna give
Yeah,
it. I think JDXL have played the Draven most proactively than any other team.
Really impressive.
They tried to continuously give him a lot of gold, continuously give him a lot of kills, and he cast in time after time after time after time. He still died level 3 though. And that will
Memes
follow him.
and jokes aside, a stellar Draven performance set up for by the rest of the team. But we also have to set up for Analyst Desk to take it away from here.
Another clean victory coming in for JDXL versus Astralis, a team that was trying to climb to the stars, but apparently the Keepers of the Light are just keeping them away from that first and second seed. Really clean from JDXL.
They actually made the classic mistake of forgetting that stars are actually boiling hot balls of plasma. That's kind of dangerous. Don't go star trekking across the universe. Star trekking. Well, I mean, they star tripped and fell over JDXL, so I guess we can run with that one. But yeah, I mean, I didn't have a point for this. I just wanted to sound funny. Where are we going from here?
I'll save you. So last time we had this XL versus Astralis, obviously the fan on the street for me, I had a diss track. I've actually prepared a poem today.
Oh, a poem?
Yeah, it's very different.
Please.
I'd like to recite it now. XL's very own Gary Clark. All bite, but no bark. Beating Astralis was a walk in the park. Thank you very much.
I think that was beautiful. I think that really did sum up how XL took that victory and remained at the top of the table. Thank you for the applause, Sam, on the other side of the studio. He really appreciated that too. As another person who really appreciates the arts. And it was a beautiful game.
I was expecting way more out of you. I played Phasma with you. I know your skills.
I'm confused what you mean by that.
Well, that was low. Astralis loses versus JDXL. You'll do better next time. Don't worry, buddy. You got this. JDXL at this point undefeated, almost at the top of the standings. And I believe first place, it's almost theirs as I have Venzer for the interview. Okay, welcome back, Venzer.
Hello.
How are we doing?
Doing pretty good, pretty good.
If you forgot about anything. If you forgot about anything.
Oh yeah, true. I am sorry, Arcarom, you were right. We lost the game. We could not go undefeated. We're gonna have to settle for 17-1.
Doesn't that feel satisfying?
You know, it's just something inside. I mean, obviously you guys are still looking really. I mean, you're looking better than before. I think that defeat actually did really well for you guys. You guys are now more concise on how you finish the games. You guys know how to start fighters. FGG is just a beast nowadays. You bring in the Kraken Slayer for the Draven, though. Can you explain that?
I mean, it's just good item on Draven. Enemies had like decent frontline. Kraken Slayer, good item. Does most damage to frontline. Didn't need any other mythic.
Okay, that's the way to put it. Venzer, okay, between us, there's a big meme.
On a side note, do not build Eclipse on Draven. It's true.
Oh, I mean, that is a strong, yeah, I would say. Venzer, there's a big meme about level 3. What do you feel?
Yeah.
What do you feel about that?
I don't feel anything. When you die level 3, you just don't feel anything.
Also, it seems like the scrims are going better at this time because it seems like the team is more safe, I guess, at the beginning of the game. You guys know how to use the advantage you build up as well. How is scrims going for you as a player?
I mean, so sometimes good, sometimes bad. Sometimes I die level 3, sometimes I die level 1.
You have a lot of issues at the early levels, don't you?
Get it in there early. You know, I'd love to jump.
gotta stick to traditions.
Jump in.
Must be, okay, I suppose in another sticking to traditions kind of sense, you know, the idea of the ERLs typically is about development. I'd love to get, we've chatted to a lot of players about how they felt this whole year has gone for them at this point, actually. In your opinion, how far have you progressed as an individual this year under the various teams you played on?
I mean, I think I improved a lot, like compared to how I was playing like last year. I mean, every year, like you kind of just learn new stuff, and like more and more, you just like the knowledge just stacks on itself, you know. So you just keep getting better and better. I would say this split I improved more than I did last split, like considerably. Still, I mean, I have like my level 3 depths, so maybe you guys will just meme on that because I haven't improved on that. But everything else, I would say it's going quite well.
Sometimes good, sometimes bad. Thank you so much, Venzer. I will not conclude that sentence, but thank you so much for this interview, and best of luck throughout the rest of the split. Also,
No problem.
before you go, I did a bet yet again with your coach that
Not
you guys.
instigated at all.
Yeah. I want to know because he asked me like, oh, what should we bet? What do you think I should bet versus Torok? Like, what do you think would be the worst thing for Torok to do if he lost?
Let me think.
Yeah, think about that and then hit me back. Okay, thank you so much for the interview.
right.
Send me a DM. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure. All right.
Best
see you.
announce this live on air when it happens.
Yes.
Best tell us, because I want to be on the loop with this too, because, you know, half of the pleasure of this is seeing whatever the heck goes on between
Builds
them.
up.
Yeah. No, because I actually have, like, no stakes in this at all. I just like seeing one of you two, you know, take the fall. It's very exciting.
I want to get involved in a bet.
Okay.
What bet would you like to bet?
I don't know. Just put something in front of me. I'll accept anything at this point. I just want to get involved in the fun.
I'll think about something towards Wednesday, I
Put a
guess.
disclaimer for everyone out there in chat. That is not how you have a prosperous life. This is how bad things happen to you.
Listen, I like options.
Well, I do have the option to move on and talk with Astralis. Texan is with us on the interview, I believe. It's Chrisberg. I got trolled. How are you doing, Chrisberg? Welcome to the interview.
Thank you.
A tough game for you guys. It seems like JDXL got a little bit of momentum and they couldn't be stopped. Like, did you feel the same? How was it to play this game?
I mean, we decided to flip the game on a level 2 gank, and we misplayed, and then we decided to flip it again on the bounce, and I misplayed. So, yeah, then the game gets hard, and we have to play for small openings or make the game psychopath, and we didn't perform when it matters. So yeah,
It's a risk that you have
happens.
to take now because you're playing versus a Draven. You want to shut him down early. So it seems like you have to take that risk, no?
yeah. I mean, this champ, if you kill it early, it can't play the game, and if you get killed and he gets 1500 gold, then you can't play the game. So
From what I'm listening, Chrisberg, it seems like you don't like Draven.
no, I've never been a fan of this champ, and I think he's really broken right now. So I can confidently say I'm not a fan.
As a player, do you believe there's any sort of a counter pick towards Draven as a bot laner?
As a bot laner, you need to put your mic very high and yell at your jungle.
So, you know what I love to do? I love to twist questions and veer from the other side. We've heard very much about a champion you really hate and you don't want to play about. If there's something you could, and we asked this actually to Spikey earlier in the day, also as another bot laner, is there a champion you would love to play right now? It doesn't have to be meta. Anything you'd love to play, though, because we've already heard about how much you hate some champions. What about one you love?
I mean, honestly, I actually didn't expect this question.
We like to keep things fresh.
Probably, I would love to get a Kalista game in at some point.
Doable.
cool.
That is a doable one. Last question for you is, looking into the way the standings are right now, do you believe it's better to fight for the 3rd seed to make sure that you can pick one of the below teams? Or do you believe you should go for the 2nd seed to fight off maybe, I don't know, JDXL?
I mean, we want to be as high as we can be, so like, go for 2nd, of course.
Okay. Thank you so much. As apparently we're moving on to the standings. Thank you so much for this interview. Best of luck throughout the rest of the split, and I hope to see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Yet again. No, give me the standings now. You put in the standings, now you're taking them away. There you go. Thank you, Chrisberg. There you go. As we jump into the standings, JDXL sitting on first place, 12-1. Astralis now on fourth place, 1 game behind Bifrost.
So,
Dusty.
I mean, I look at the standings now, and we sadly don't have the wonderful flow from first down to like sixth. Well, right to pretty much to the bottom of the table. We've broken the chain of things here. We
Does it confuse you?
Yeah, you know,
Makes you mad.
Yeah, I love straight and orderly numbers, ones which conform to my knowledge of existence. But
Well, it's like Fleetwood Mac say, you always have to break the chain.
Ah, man, I got that one.
Yeah.
I've never listened to the